Thank you, Deputy Speaker, and good morning to all the colleagues. Deputy Speaker, let's appreciate that there's an undertaking that the rules will report, sub-rule committee will report in October, meaning which all the matters in particular that are relating to ministers not answering questions will be dealt with, as well as extending the time period within which questions are asked. But we need to also look into the advice that the Chief Whip of MK is putting across, because during member statements, we hear ministers responding on other sister departments, and they make a valuable input in some cases, and in some cases they waffle. But in a case where a deputy minister was not prepared at all to answer the question, they must just not say anything. But most importantly is the people who are presiding. They must be able to call off nonsense in the House, because we cannot allow people to degenerate to a level of just standing up and embarrass all of us as South Africans. To stand up and say, I am speaking on behalf of the executive, yet we do not have an answer. This goes to written questions as well, because the same cabinet minister from the same party, the Minister of Basic Education, Gwahobe, received a written question about basic education transport of schools in the Eastern Cape that do not have transport at all in terms of the scholar transport for the children. And her response says, this is not within my competency, right to the legislature. What minister responds like that? The least a minister can do is to say, because I have a time period within which I have to respond to you as a member, please allow me to extend so that I can reach out to the province and understand what is going on, because this is the competency of basic education, irrespective of which province it's occurring in. You can't refer a member of parliament to the legislature. We are serving the people, therefore the minister must answer to the House and not refer members to elsewhere. So that also has to be looked into by the sub-rules, because now that's another tendency which the new ministers are coming up with. But secondly, on the issue of the dome, it's unacceptable that we will only convene when Public Works is available. Public Works have been knowing that they must prepare for the dome since the establishment of Parliament, because the first induction, we sat and had a special Chief Whips Forum where Public Works came to present the status of having Parliament in session with everyone inside. Public Works knew from that time, that was in June, that they must prepare the dome. And to date, we must be told we must wait for Public Works. It cannot be, it's not acceptable. Public Works, if they cannot do it, therefore, Parliament must bring back the marquee. And the excuse that the marquee is not safe is also very wrong and incorrect. A president of the country addresses imbizos meetings in marquees. So you are saying marquees are suitable for our general public. They are not suitable for us. How is a marquee not safe for members of parliament? When funerals, weddings, imigidi, everything happens in tents. That's not proper. And we should mind our language in terms of this comfort we want to create for ourselves and not lie. Because there's nothing wrong with a marquee. That marquee we had, not even a single person tripped over it. Not even a single person injured a toenail. Now we are told it's unsafe. So if we don't have a dome, the undertaking all of us we had, even in the Chiefs Forum and this programming, is that we are going to have a full-blown house sitting in October when we come back, and that must happen. We are not, this is the last programming committee we're having. We're not going to have another one until we come back on the 7th of October. And when we come back on the 7th of October, we need to sit in a full-blown House of Parliament with all members. This excuse of Public Works, we're not going to wait for it. Whether they are bringing the dome or not, the Secretary of Parliament must be ready. We need to have our Parliament operating. And then the last one, Chair, in terms of the matters arising, is the issue of the ad hoc committee in terms of the apartheid laws. We didn't get to understand where is the response in that, because there are two things that we have spoken about, the ad hoc committee and how we're going to go about it, which House Chair Frolik was seized with the matter. Then there is the second part of it, which is going to the executive, and the executive will take forever. They can even bring it back on the 5th year of this term, because we can't dictate to them, we can't tell them how to go about dealing with the matters of law. But us, it's our primary function. We can't sit here and not pass legislation and not correct the wrongs of apartheid. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Mente. Yes, in terms of the questions, that is a point well made, and that will be part of the subcommittee's discussions, most definitely. The question of the dome, I think, Mr. Kasu, we will just make sure that we do have a more up-to-date information regarding that, because the intention is that we have a dome when we start in the next term. And then the subcommittee, I don't know, Honourable Frolik, if you would like to comment on that.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Speaker, and good morning to the colleagues. The matter has been finalised from my side. I think Mr. Kasu just forgot to report on it. The proposal is in front of the Speaker for setting up a specific structure committee. It will then have to be discussed by the Chief Whips. Timeframes will have to be decided on, so that it can get the focus, the attention that it should have. I must mention, Deputy Speaker, I worked through those pieces of legislation. It's quite cumbersome, goes all over the place, and it would be better to have it at one center point to manage and report on the progress that will be made. So that is how far we are. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Frolik. Honourable Nklangwini.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Speaker, I think in the last meeting, Mr. Kaso, I did request, when we are doing the matters arising, we must please do it maybe perhaps in a table form, because I think we are missing some of the matters arising, handling it in this manner, the way we are handling currently. There was also a matter brought by the Chief Whip of the EFF pertaining our motion on the closing of the Israel embassy, and I don't see it reflecting within this minutes. So I want to get an update on that one. And I think on the second one is maybe perhaps if we can also have the letter of the Speaker that you have sent to the Leader of Government Business. I think it's just, since we have raised it as members of Parliament, with the quality of questions and how questions are being dealt with by the ministers, that we are also taken into light with the letter that went to the Minister of, to the Leader of Government Business, and the time frames and dates in terms of the feedback of this letter, because we have written a letter on the 27th of August on member statements and the minister's availability on member statements. And still, there's been no response pertaining to that. A letter have also been sent to the Leader of Government Business. So I think it's also pertinent that when these letters are being sent, we also be taken on board as members of Parliament as to when is the feedback going to come back to our offices. And then the last one, I think I don't think you have handled it in your matters arising, Mr. Klaso, the one on the sectoral parliaments report. I think much more, the minutes is just saying work is being done regarding all the program, but I think we need much more in-depth response in terms of that. Yet again, time frames pertaining to these things, to just leave it open-ended.